4, 3, 2, 1. Give the chat. Good evening, folks. This is the regular council meeting of July 29th, 2020. We're here again in the council chambers doing our social distancing. But before I begin, we'll do a round table. Roundtable introductions. Tonight, filling in for Town Clerk Joanne Perry is our admin assistant, Laurie Moss, Town Manager Sandy Collins, Councillor Jess Powell, Councillor Gerald Perry, Councillor Chantel Lynch, Councillor Richard Kelly, Councillor Craig Arnold, Deputy Mayor David Saunders, and Mayor Doug Churchill. I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the regular council meeting of June 25th at 7:30. Need a motion to adopt, please. Craig. Craig, second. Gerald Perry. All in favor? Everybody? Anything arising from June 25th? Number 3, sir. Number 3. Okay. That means for 423. Harry, how that work? But we are still questioning that. I don't know if we have any definite answer, but there was a discussion earlier. I don't know if anybody wants to do anything to change that. I guess what we could do is have another vote if that's how many is there? 4? 5. 5. We have 4. I thought you need a majority of and the majority of the people sitting around the table at that meeting voted for it. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a legitimately carried. How come the council meetings are postponed because we don't have a quorum?
In the handbook it says that once a quorum of 4 is not met, something needs the meeting is adjourned.
Yes, quorum of 4. Okay, let's fine. David, excuse me, guys. David Thomas wanted to get in there. I didn't know that.
Yes, there was 2 people who declared a conflict of interest. So there was only 3 people left to vote. So that was the number of councillors present. So that's what we went ahead with.
You didn't have a quorum at that particular time. Well, why don't we solve the problem?
Another vote.
We can do another vote, and if somebody will make that motion,
I'll move.
Just let's do the motion first. So I'll move that we rescind that previous motion. You want to rescind it first, okay?
Yes.
But have to rescind it first.
You don't really have to court to join it. That's the way you do. I'll second the motion.
All right. So the motion has been made and rescinded. To rescind the motion, rather seconded. All in favor? So that's everybody. Okay, do you want, let's move that we have another vote on that. So you want to propose the same motion? Yes. All right, so Councillor Paul is proposing the same motion. That's there. That's there in the I'll second. I don't have it. And the motion says, I'm sorry, I do have it. The motion says moved by Councillor Kelly, second by Councillor Arnold, that the council accept the following recommendation to the Economic Development and Recreation Committee. Starting in 2021, the town will implement a user fee for both the Central and South Shore boat launches. Fees will be $10 a launch or $50 a year. Stickers or passes can be purchased at the town hall or the visitor information center when opened. So that's the motion. It's been made by Councillor Paul, is there a seconder? Gerald. Okay, it's all right.
Well,
now, I'm going to declare a conflict as you, Councillor Lynch. Even though I made the motion, I have to vote in favor of. You got to declare a conflict of interest if the other 2 are. It's okay. Then you back to see again?
Well, I got a question when they say.
Okay, so I'm just saying because it's Chantel cycle even, August cycle even, yesterday, I don't think we're in.
No, we're not. When this is over, yes, we decide whether they're in conflict of interest or not. But I'm gonna move a motion now. They're not in conflict of interest, it's a gray area, and I don't think they're in conflict of interest. And if we vote in favor of that motion, they can't get in no trouble.
I think
No whatsoever.
I agree with you. I think we should have a standing motion whereby anybody around this table declares or thinks they're in a conflict of interest, that the body, the city body, will make that decision.
Too much different on that.
Too much, everybody's jumping, saying, I'm in conflict, I'm in conflict, I'm in conflict.
So I'm gonna move that motion,
I'll second it.
and we're going to, decide that they're not in conflict of interest. You can vote for or against. That's the motion.
There's a question? All those in favor of the motion?
So they're not in conflict of interest. So I'm gonna get a vote. I'll say the motion.
Yeah.
We might get in, I catch it in somewhere.
No, that's what we're.
We're not conflict. No. So, we're not conflict. We made a decision.
We made the decision, they're not in conflict.
Yes, we weren't.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. So that's been a motion.
No, we can vote.
So there is a motion. Then we're back to the council chambers, those of us who declared a conflict. And the motion has been made and second that we would institute the user fee structure. Are you ready for the question? Is there any discussion?
The only thing that we need to know that you want to explain that to me was that if vote for or against, once the council makes a decision, there's no way that you're in a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, okay. I accept all that. But now moving on to the motion.
Yeah.
The motion is made to institute the user fee. Is there any discussion on that motion before the vote? If not, are you ready for the question? All in favor then of the fee? So that's 5-4 and 1 opposed. 6-4 and 1 opposed. So Councillor Paul is opposed. All right. We'll move on. Is there anything else from the regular council meeting of June 25th? What number is that? Councillor Perry? Number 10?
Okay. Yeah, so that letter was written and we've gotten a response back. I had it in my update, but I can.
Well, let's leave it to the update because it was till then.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else arise? Number 12. When is that trust will start on the 1st of November?
There's time frame. Yeah, there's time frames. They have to have it done in the fall. I think it's October 31st. I think they have to have it done by, if I'm not mistaken. So I've spoken to the successful bidder, and they said it would be done towards the end of summer because they're into the busy season now for paving. So they're aware of their time frames and they can meet them. So
Okay.
we're good. Yeah.
Anything else arising?
Town clock, Mr. Town Manager.
Yeah, that was dropped off at Kearney's clockmakers, if you will, in St. John's on Thursday of last week. So it's with them. They're looking at some options for us to replace the existing motors, which they agree for a complete overkill. We didn't need to go with such a motor, especially at a cost of $1,000 per motor, and there's 2 of them, of course, for each phase. So they said they'd be able to put something in that would last much longer and cost much less. So I'm just waiting to get an estimate back on that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything else? All right, hearing nothing, we'll move to July 2nd, council meeting, 7 p.m. Councillor Kelly, second. Councillor Arnold, all in favor? Okay. Anything arising from those minutes? And again, this was a regular council meeting. move to the permit committee meeting of July the 8th at 1 p.m. Moved and second by Councillor Saunders. All in favor? Everybody? Those minutes are adopted. Anything arising from those minutes? All of these things, of course, came up in the council meeting directly beyond that, I think. So I'll assume that there's nothing. We'll move then to the council meeting of July the 9th at 1 p.m. A motion to adopt, please.
So moved.
Councillor Perry, second. Councillor Kelly, all in favor? Everybody. Again, this was a regular council meeting, so I'm assuming that there's nothing arising from those minutes. There is Janice. There is something that wasn't in the permit meeting is number 4, painting of the pedestrian walkway. And I think the town manager has that probably in his report as well, do you?
I do, yeah.
The next minutes are of the Terranova Trail Riders meeting with the Committee of Council on July the 15th at 7 p.m. I'm not sure we adopt those minutes. We just accept them as presented, I believe. I guess we need a motion to accept as presented. Councillor Arnold, second.
Second.
Councillor Paul, all in favor? Okay, and I guess we need a,
If I may speak to that one, the recommendation, as you see there, was that I would contact the Department of Transportation and Works to set up a meeting with the committee and to discuss access to Route 310, the province's road that runs through the community. So after that meeting, I touched base with Dave Boyneighbor, who's regional manager at the Eastport Depot, and he suggested, considering this is such an not odd request, but it's a different request, something that they've haven't had before, that we write the minister directly for permission. So I do that with council's guidance, but I wouldn't pursue it if council didn't wish me to do so. So I wanted perhaps some guidance on that.
I'll ask the question now, council. This is, I don't think, if I'm correct, I don't think this has ever come to council for a decision in terms of whether we agree or disagree.
Yes, if I can. I think some of the conversation was, and Councillor Arnold can back me up on this or correct me, but there's no need at council to pursue this if Route 310 isn't in play. So we figured if we write the minister, if he comes back and says, yeah, that's something we would entertain, then we could come back to council and then have the conversation. However, if the minister shuts it down altogether, that kind of changes what council could or should do, I guess. So that was kind of the reasoning for it.
So we would accept, if we accept the recommendation, it's with the understanding that we're not necessarily agreeing to do as the Trail Riders asks, which is to make certain roads multi-purpose use.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody want to make that motion?
Maybe in specific, where do you want to have those roads?
Yeah, so they mentioned a bunch of roads in town, but again, that plan won't work, or it won't work as well as if we can't get access to the Transportation Works road going through town. So we wanted to see if we could get this, that's a starting point, and then we can look at municipal roads after that.
Okay.
So, but they named a bunch of streets out on North Shore and along South
So
Shore.
I think with transportation in the what specific, what part of the road they want to use?
Oh, well, here near the town hall to the corner, the stadium, and they also mentioned crossing over Terranova River, Andrew Shepherd Memorial Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So they have to use Route 310.
Yes.
That's part of their spot. That's part of their access to spots that they probably want to use, right?
In order for it to work well.
So you could allow. All right, wait. I said we couldn't really allow them to come down the plant road and go across the bridge unless the Department of Highways gives them the right to cross the bridge.
They said, look, we're not going to let you go on that road.
Nothing we can do about it.
Okay. Do you want to make that a motion? We move the recommendation that we check it out.
Check it out first, check it out, see where he's at.
Okay. Councillor Perry is okay. You'll second the motion to have the recommendation accepted. Any further discussion? Further discussion than previous now. So, you ready for the question? All in favor? Everybody? So, the council meeting of July the 16th at 1:05 p.m., which was a meeting that was done to clear away some things. We need a motion to adopt, please. I move. Councillor Arnold, Councillor Saunders, second. All in favor? Everybody? Okay. Anything arising from those minutes? Again, this was a full council meeting, so if there are any questions, we can deal with it. I notice number 6, the town manager, that we talked about having the town heritage committee visit the old mill site.
That hasn't happened. So I don't know if we want to try to set a tentative date here.
Yeah, well, let's try to do it next week sometime, probably Wednesday or something, middle of the day. I'll leave that with you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else arising from those minutes?
Yeah, so we've gotten back the stamped drawings. The only issue is now we have to develop a technical spec with all the interior finishes and those things. So I've spoken to Steve Badcock. He's going to get back to me early next week with what that would involve. There's quite a bit of work involved with that, so making sure everybody who bids on a job is bidding on the same thing. So right down to the type of faucet and floor coverings you want, to the type of paint and shingle grade and all of those things. So that's what has to be done before it gets put into open bids. So I'm working on that with Steve, and he thinks he can help me with it. So, yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll move into the deferred business. Municipal plan amendment.
Yeah, I'm speaking to John Baird, our land planner, on Thursday of last week. This
is Clay Cole, Sweet Apple Terrace and Edding.
Right. So I spoke to our land planner last week on Thursday, and he's made some revisions to the map to include some of the landowners down there. Some feedback had come back, so we wanted to incorporate that before going any further. Those changes, from my understanding, have been made now, so it's sent to the lands office. So it's in process now. So hopefully we'll hear some updates sooner rather than later.
Good. Okay. And the letter from the old timers on the arena, it's the naming of the arena, so we said we'd leave that until the fall. And of course, that's still I'll be here a little bit. The application to operate at Tower Equestrian, there was a change of zone.
Yeah, so we have, Joanne actually mentioned that, town clerk had mentioned that to our municipal planner, and we're setting up a time to meet when he can come into the office and we can discuss that. So that's in the works as well.
And the last item, the letter from Juanita Short and so on about Engelbrook Road, has there been anything?
So the gentleman who lives in that house, or the family who lives in that house, are no longer living there. I guess they work in Alberta, as I understand it. So I just went back to do a little bit of research to see if this has been an issue in the past, and it has, based on the size of the folder that's located in the filing cabinet. So I don't know really how we want to go about doing that. There's two issues. The landowner isn't there, the property owner isn't there, and secondly, it looks to be a habitual problem that has never been taken care of, and maybe because it can't. So I don't know what direction council wants to give me. I don't think a letter is going to help at this point. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Any suggestions from anybody?
Yeah, we've gone there several times before, but I think it was brought up in council that if we went to court, for example, we went to court, the judge would probably say there are similar places in town like that. And if there is, then we probably throw it out of court. So I don't know what
the court process, as you say, is a very convoluted and complicated process. But I mean, it's been. But now there has been. Having said said all that, there has been some improvements over the years. There's been some things done and so on. So to say that there's been no improvement would not be accurate, I don't think. So
Well,
maybe
the house is, whatever, foundation, the rest of it doesn't look that bad, really. Well, you know, that's how.
More often we pass it, more often we say that. So don't look too bad.
yeah.
If you keep going back, it's a mess, boys.
So anyway, I guess the question is where do we go from here? And without anybody living on the property, I don't know if there's much we can do, to be honest, until somebody comes back here, unless somebody has a suggestion.
Okay, for that, you know, this is my house, this is second term now, and nothing's happened so far, so. The only other thing you do is go to the courts and go, what other option is that?
Well, why don't we let the town manager just go through we have some information already on the court process, and just freshen up your mind in terms of where that is, and see what the steps need to be taken, and let's see if it seems to fit in this particular case, because it doesn't fit all. Okay?
The house is dangerous, people out there.
But again, there's nobody living in it now.
Nobody needs that was done around there. So many neighbors here, why is it?
I don't know.
The way it is now.
Can I suggest that maybe I call the town's lawyer just to have a telephone conversation,
Yes.
just to see, because he may say, listen, you're barking up the wrong tree, or this is what we can do. So
That would be is that a consensus that we would do that?
Yeah.
Or legal advice? Okay, the next item then is in your package is the application to operate an advanced foot care practice by Lisa Denton. I think you have there's a note on the bottom of the application. It says it's zoned residential medium density. Medical and personal services are listed as discretionary, which would allow it, but it needs an advertisement. So, so you're moving the acceptance of the permit with the understanding that that's to be advertised. Okay. Councilor Paul, second by Mayor Saunders, Deputy Mayor Saunders. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. So now we're down to reports, down to the town manager.
okay, so getting back to what Councilor Perry had asked about earlier, with regards to the response to the letter that was written to the Fry family, this actually moved along pretty quickly. So a letter was written, it was signed off by the mayor, sent to Paul Burt, who's with the Fry Family Foundation, and maybe about a week or two, week and a half later, he dropped me a text message, said everything looks really good, an email will follow. And basically, this should have been put in correspondence, but it was my oversight, I didn't put it in there, but if just bear with me a second, I can just read it to you. Hi Doug, I'm pleased to inform you that the Fry Family Foundation trustees have approved your funding request of $75,000, representing 50% of the purchase price of the proposed Glovertown Community Market. This amount will be allocated with our 2021 budget, with the funds being available for disbursement early next year. I received unanimous support for your request from the trustees, and the foundation is pleased to partner with the municipality of Glovertown in this exciting new initiative. As you mentioned in your letter, we also welcome the opportunity to explore other ways to assist in the growth and development of this very worthwhile social enterprise project in the years to come. Please stay in touch, keep me updated on the status of this acquisition, and also on the progress of the Diamond House upgrades. Best regards, Paul Burt.
Yeah, very positive. Very positive thoughts in terms of the email, let alone the fact that you're going to get $75,000 to go into the price of the purchase.
And we'll do more.
Yes.
We can come up with the
If we can develop a project that will include them, then I think they seem like they're ready to come on site.
Yeah.
So I sent him a note thanking him and so on, but I guess that suffices. We don't need to send any copy from council, do we?
Maybe I guess once we
From
more.
Maybe we should.
Unless you signed a bare apple.
I could have. Can we have a motion then to send a note of thanks?
I move.
Councillor Kelly, second by Councillor Arnold. Any further discussion? So they'll go to the minutes, and then there will be a thank you sent. All in favor? Yes, everybody.
Okay. As you know, during our repairs of Central Boat Launch, we hit a bit of a speed bump with DFO. But anyways, all the paperwork was filled out and it came back. Everything is fine with some guidelines for us to follow, which won't be an issue. The only thing left to do now is just finish off the top side of the breakwater, if you will. The piece of land that juts out parallel with the pier. Just wondering what councils, I've spoken to a few of you just offhand, and there's been some different opinions whether we should allow vehicles to back out there, say if they're on loading gear to the boats, they could access that to back out parallel with the pier, or we place a couple large boulders and place the bench and dogberry tree in there. It's kind of like a sitting area instead. What's council's feelings?
The only thing,
guardrail.
yeah, that's our.
Let's do guardrail.
Yeah.
Because I nobody back out there. Next thing you're going to probably going to be out over. Because you know on boats has a tendency to have it.
Well,
You know.
I suggested the same thing when I was speaking to Public Works, and Matt suggested, well, the same situation is the whole parking lot. Nothing's guardrailed there. So it would be no different than any other place if we wish to allow cars to go up there. You know what I mean? Everything else is open. So I don't know if that's a concern, because that's a concern I always had.
It is.
It's a concern.
Yeah, just in regard to Mr. Perry's comment, the only difference is that people are direct backing down a narrow passage.
Yeah,
if you like, it's not like driving around the parking.
Not quite the same.
Councillor Solid.
Yeah, I was going to say, the back of their vehicle, back of the trailer runs, you can't get out there anyway. People leave their trailers and their boat
We'd
there.
have to try.
Yeah.
And you have parking signs there or something.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
Yes.
But making it a little rest area, picnic area, whatever you call it, lay on that. Might be filled to the same level and south again.
Well, that's all it's up to be done.
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking at this spring.
Councillor Lynch.
I don't know where the boys are with constructing those big chairs.
Oh, right.
That might be a place to put one in.
So you're thinking gain along the lines of a picnic area?
I don't think back then you're going to be able to put a rest or something.
You're so pretty moved out there, you told us it popped up.
Well, we always go there here, so.
But we do have a bench there currently,
Yes.
and we have a large that dogberry tree the family donated.
Yes.
So that's out there. So it'd be a nice place to put it. I'd recommend against grass. That would away our growing grass inventory in town. But nicely, with Class A or whatever the case is, and put a couple boulders to not allow vehicles access. Maybe.
Yeah, that would be my feeling right now in terms of like I say, backing out there is going to be a little bit of an issue. So is that a consensus? Everybody comfortable with that? We'll right now with Bard, fill it up, Bard, and then put a something out there in terms of yes,
Yeah.
Opposite the launch.
The road here is short, right? Yeah, really head road up there.
Yeah.
4 hours longer, so
No.
No.
Okay, so that's it's okay. We'll see how that works and take it from there. Carry on, sir.
Was I? The painting in the town center. I spoke to Jim Nolan, who's the contractor that we have hired. He has a plan to be out here on Monday of next week to do the town center painting. So I've coordinated with Public Works here to make sure it's swept beforehand. So the boys will probably sweep towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, and that'll be all ready to go, depending on weather, of course. But he expects to be out here Monday morning to start that painting, and that would hopefully be done within a few hours. Like it's a day job type thing for him to be in and out. So hopefully that'll be done Monday.
Great.
And that's it.
Good. Councillors, anything around the table?
Well, just some questions for John Hines here. What we decided to do, we're going to leave the green, I'm not going to just paint the lines there.
Were you talking about the lines on the road? Okay.
Yeah, no, the original design was don't quote me on the numbers, but I think it was a 5 foot walkway,
Yeah.
and then a 3 foot buffer, and in that 3 foot buffer there was 2 lines separated by bare asphalt in between.
No, in the wide section there, but we had painted green before, don't be painted at all.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
5 foot green, and then with a 3 foot bump up to 2 more.
It'll look the way it was done originally, basically, but maybe a little bit better. Okay, anything else around the table? No? There are a few heads shaking, near the head shaking. All right, hearing none, we'll move then to correspondence. The first item is a letter from Municipal Affairs on the application status of our capital funding. This one, I think, one I have is the intersection, but that's not the one we're talking about. Next to that. So this is the capital funding for the new fire hall. It says, the letter is to inform you that your application for new fire hall capital works funding from the Department of Municipal Affairs and Environment has not been selected for funding. However, Municipal Affairs is planning on issuing a call for applications early in fall of 2020. And should this project remain a priority, I encourage you to resubmit. For your information, I guess that's put on the back burner for the time being as far as that funding is concerned. The next item is the Wilderness Ecological Reserve Protected Area Plan for Newfoundland. This is an information item that we have. It's information on the consultation process. It tells us that as part of the public consultation on proposed protected areas, I'm reading from the first page, the Protected Areas Plan for the Island of Newfoundland, the Wilderness and Ecological Reserve Advisory Council has been receiving many questions from the public. And the council is trying to respond to those questions. The attached one-page information sheet explains more about the consultation process. So it tells you, for instance, on the next page that there are basically 2 phases. It doesn't tell us much about what they have planned, but it does tell us that there will be an opportunity to ask questions and answer questions and so on until October the 1st. So if any of you have any concerns about that, or if you know of somebody in the community, I'm sure we could find copies of that information for them as well. The next one is on the intersection. Very much like the last letter from Transportation and Works, Glovertown intersection. Thank you for your correspondence regarding the intersection of Main Street North, Centennial Street, and Route 310. And the last paragraph summarizes pretty much. It says, the project will be considered for future departmental capital works projects in the area, as well as should the town of Glovertown wish to acquire more funding for their share of work at this intersection. I would suggest that they reach out to the Department of Municipal Affairs and the Environment. They've already given us, and you'll see in the previous paragraph, $80,000. But the total project, of course, our estimate is somewhere in the vicinity of $255,000. So we are well short of what we need to do the intersection. So I guess they're telling us that right now they don't have any money, but they may very well look at it in the future, which doesn't sound very hopeful. The next one is an email from Paul Hart requesting the installation of a street light at the end of Townview Drive. Now, we have a street light committee, but I don't know if we want to go that route, or if you people are familiar with the area, or if you want to make a motion to have the street light installed, or what your feelings are. Do you want the committee to have a look?
Mr. Mayor, I visited the site this afternoon, and it's quite a distance. It's about 500 feet of last street light in there to the end of the street. There's no pole in it for to put a street light on, you know, so you have to erect the pole in there. But I think.
But why don't you have the committee then?
Yeah.
Go have a look and see what is required.
Just,
I don't. That's a good question.
I don't know. They're different. Yeah. Out short, one every second pole is just a street light.
that's out.
Yeah, North Shore is pretty far apart too.
Yeah. So are we agreeing then that we would go to the committee stage? All right, glad the committee looked at it. So I'll leave that with the town manager to call the streetlight committee together. Yeah. Thank you. The next item is the letter from Gary South on nuisance regulations. Did you want to speak to that?
Yeah. So I had a conversation with the neighbor where the complaint rose from, I guess, the animal. And since that conversation, it appears that through talking to Mr. South, it appears that the problem is resolved. But he asked us to keep this on correspondence in case if the problem rears its head again or whatever the case is. But for right now, it seems as though everything's going smoothly. So.
Okay, so I guess we'll keep the letter on file. For the big rooster. That was all dealt with previous to this. That rooster has been relocated. The next item is the monthly police report. That's for your information. And the next one. The next one is a memo from Municipal Assessment Agency, the update on the Municipal Assessment Agency itself. Basically, it says that there's an attached list of current members, and they have as well included their issues that were addressed at their regular meeting. So it was a teleconference meeting. So again, that's for your information. The next one is an email from Ron Pond of the Lions Club. It's asking for 2 picnic tables. It says the Lions Sam Saunders Park adjacent to the medical clinic has a gazebo, some lounging chairs, however, a number of requests have been received by the Lions Club, suggesting that a couple of picnic tables would be beneficial. As you are aware, the Alexander Bay Lions Club is currently closed due to COVID-19 situation and is unable to raise funds. At the present time, we do not have the funds for this or any other project. Would the council be willing to provide 2 picnic tables for the park? They're asking us to put 2 picnic tables down in that park next to the clinic. Okay, moved by Jess and second by Richard. Discussion, town manager.
I was speaking to Dean Rousel today. He made a suggestion, or at least put it out there. We have a number of picnic tables up at our rec grounds that only get used during the music festival, or the Alexander Bay Days, I should say. So one option would be, we have a lot of picnic tables up there, to bring them down and leave them there all year long, except for that one weekend we need them. Or the other option is, of course, to have a couple picnic tables built specifically for that.
Right, what we had. Yeah. So what does everybody agree with that? What's the consensus?
The picnic tables are in good shape.
Yes.
The picnic tables are painted on, you probably noticed them before, blue and yellow. So they're relatively good shape.
Some of it's just stained brown.
Yeah, there's some up there. Yeah, Dean referred to a couple of the yellow and blue ones, but yeah, there's some other brown ones up there. But apparently, there's quite a few up there, so there would be no issue with having them up there all year long, except maybe perhaps 2 days when maybe have to be used for the festival, if indeed they did need to be used.
So is that consensus then? We'd have to place their game. As somebody would suggest, of course, make sure we pick out a couple of good ones. Of
course, yeah.
Good right here.
Yeah.
It's 20.
And if they need painting, well, I guess we get that done too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good then. We moved into the next item, which is the letter from the Department of Fisheries and Land, the community garden. And this one simply says that thank you for your interest in the community garden support program. It is my pleasure to inform you that a grant to the town of Glovertown in the amount of $500 has been approved to support the community garden development in Newfoundland and Labrador. And he goes on to say, of course, I'd like to thank you, your organization, for your valued contribution in advancing food self-sufficiency in the province, and it's signed by the Honorable Jerry Byrne. So that's $500 that our Economic Development Officer has applied for and received. So I guess that's a bonus for us. The Next one is the letter from the Municipal Affairs request to engage a consultant on the road upgrading and paving. You know, of course, we had a confirmation of some thousands of dollars for our paving, and now, of course, we have the bids were sent out. The call for bids was sent out by the provincial government. This outcome of this limited call for bids exercise has resulted in a proposed fee in the amount of $41,341.99, HST included, from DMG Consulting Limited as the compliant low bidder. If the proposed fee is acceptable to the town of Glovertown, please instruct the consultant to prepare a draft client consultant agreement for submission to the Department Central Office. So I guess we have to accept the money, and we have to move that submission be sent in. Councillor Arnold, second Councillor Paul, moving that we would accept the $41,000, that DMG would be the ones that would do the work, and that we would then ask them to do the consultant work and so on as well. Is there any further discussion? Town manager.
I was just going to make it known. So, of course, generally we would go out to our quote-unquote town's engineers. But now, of course, through the Procurement Act, we have to go out, and we've gone to a limited call for bids as a state there. So we picked 5, if you remember, and they come back with the prices. So just to let you know the result and how well that works, I guess, or the results of such a process. Originally, the estimate was that it would be $90,000 for engineering fees on this work, and our fee comes in at 41, so it's less than half the engineering fee going out to a limited call for bids. So just to let you know that, I guess that means it's working to a certain degree. Yeah.
The extra $40,000, that goes towards more paving?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, good. So then the last one is a letter from Wayne Helen to the Minister of Tourism, Culture, Industry and Innovation. This is for your information. This is in relation to the Road to the Beaches Tourism Association and their request, of course, for membership and the government to work towards doing I guess having a program that will enable us to work with the Airbnb group and the licensed accommodators as well. So it's for your information and up there. Need a motion to accept the check register. Councillor Perry, second by Councillor Lynch. All in favor? Everybody. There is a business tax exemption. This one is for 2020, and it's for Lilac Inn. Town manager, do you have any?
I'm guessing the clerk had been dealing with this, but I'm guessing this is as a result of them not opening.
Yes, they're not open to the season.
Correct. Yeah.
So the recommendation, of course, is that is a recommendation that we would offer the exemption. How does council feel about that?
Well, no other applications come in, other similar ones. How about the lesson what, are they in our zone?
They're not in our council.
Where would we have?
They're open.
I guess it really wouldn't matter if it was others. It's just that are they worthy in having an exemption because they're not opening? I guess, which to me makes perfectly good sense. If they're not operating, then how can you charge them tax for operating?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
I move that we accept it. I have the others when we come in.
Okay. Second by Chantel.
Question.
All in favor? Everybody. Need a motion to adjourn, please.
Move.
Second.
Chantel, Councillor Kelly and Councillor Lynch. Thank you, folks. That concludes our meeting.